I think we have on the phone with us Senator John McCain. Are you there, Senator?
I am here, Ken.
He's up early today. He's up early.
Actually, it's a little later here, as you know. It's
You're in
after
D.C.?
9. I mean, here in the city of Satan. So I'm glad to be with you all, and I'm glad to see the Dow futures are up. I'm a little disappointed in the new unemployment numbers, but we'll see how it goes here.
Right.
There are signs of a recovering economy, but this oil spill thing is certainly something that's of continuing preoccupation of all of us, including as far away as Arizona.
It's a terrible disaster.
And, you can't help but wonder if there isn't rising discontent from people like the governor of Louisiana and others because of frustration, or they got better ideas, or what. But it's clear that the public opinion is swinging very hard against not just BP, but now the federal government.
Everybody already hates the oil companies, so that didn't take much. That's not much of a move.
Every time we go to the gas station.
That's right.
Can the federal government do anything? I mean, I'm wondering if they do move in and take over, what can they do? What knowledge do they have?
You're a Navy man, Senator McCain. I mean, we don't have the ability to handle that ourselves, do we?
Well, the governor of Louisiana and others have said, for example, you could move tankers in there, that they could siphon it up. As you know, oil and water are separate, that they're complaining about that. The governor of Louisiana says he doesn't have enough of these barrier kind of devices, and that he's asked for them. There are also these barrier islands, that have sort of acted as a breakwater but have been deteriorating for years, that they want to fill up again. But whether those are the actual solutions or not, to tell you the truth, I've been paying close attention, and I'm not sure we have a real solution until we get this thing capped.
Right.
And the worst case scenario is it could be as late as August, as you know, before they could drill an alternative well. And that way, if this goes on till August, we have got probably the greatest ecological disaster in our history.
Unbelievable. Would you be in favor of releasing unused stimulus money to pay for things that they need down in Louisiana?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Very good.
I mean,
hopefully that'll get going here soon then.
Let's hope, my friends. And I know that's not the subject this morning, but it's dominating the news to see whether this latest effort will cap.
You mentioned the economy and jobs at the outset there. You have, along with some others, have introduced something very similar to the Glass-Steagall Act again. Is there a chance of that getting through?
No.
No.
The financial institutions and lobbies are too powerful here to be honest with you, to get anything really important done.
But the general public hates them too.
Yeah, but they look. There is corruption in Washington. Okay, there are tens of millions of dollars of lobbying money that were spent. This bill fundamentally does not address the problem that we all wanted to solve, and that is that institutions are too big to fail. Do you think that we have now put ourselves in a position where Goldman Sachs is not too big to fail?
No.
No.
I had an amendment, as you may know, to wind down Fannie and Freddie. We've already pumped $145 billion into Fannie and Freddie with no end in sight, as you know. And so they don't even address the issue of Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac in this legislation. How could you do such a thing? I think in that case they look at it as too big to address. You mean? Because they got trillions of dollars in toxic assets, right?
Yes.
If you wind down Fannie and Freddie, what happens to all of the assets that they hold, all of the mortgages that they hold?
You're gonna have to sell them off. You're gonna have to give discounts on them. But carrying them on the books as toxic assets forever. I mean, we give them a 3-year period to wind this down, and there are other institutions that can guarantee people's mortgages. You don't have to. As you know, the Fannie and Freddie were major contributors to this fundamental violation of principle that caused us this problem, and that is don't lend money to people that can't pay it back. As you know, the Community Reinvestment Act basically forced them to give loans in areas of cities and towns of low-income people. basically that people got home loan mortgages that could never afford to pay it back.
And then the financial industry packaged that all together with good mortgages and sold it to everybody, and it was a bunch of junk.
Yeah. Did you ever read? I recommend reading The Big Short.
We've had Michael Lewis on the show.
Yes, we had him on a couple of weeks ago.
He's an incredible guy, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
And I mean, The Big Short and a couple other books explain it rather well. So, look, this whole financial regulatory reform, will it not do any good? I don't know. It may do a little good, but, you know, it is putting the regulation into the hands of the regulators that failed to regulate the last time, giving them greater power. So what assurance do we have that they won't be doing the same thing that they did before?
Senator McCain,
I'm sorry to sound so bleak, but it's really a graphic example of good intentions diluted, diluted, by the influence of money and the big financial institutions.
There can be some delusion there as well.
Senator McCain, as part of this financial reform package, are we doing anything with the hedge fund managers who pay a much lower income tax rate than you or I do?
Nope.
Nothing. They still get to pay tax.
Not that I've seen.
Would you be in favor of that?
Conference, of course.
Yeah.
Look,
it's just not fair.
Yeah, and look, you know, I was always of the fundamental belief that we go to work, we build a product, we provide a service, etc., and therefore for that we make money. Tell me how it helps the economy when you and I don't own a stock, you don't own a share, but you make a bet that the share will go down, okay?
And you don't have to have any money to put up.
You don't have to have any money to put up.
It's ridiculous.
When you go to the sports book in Vegas, at least you got to put the money up.
It's true.
Huh?
Yes.
Really? And so what does that contribute to the economy except to make Wall Street a giant casino?
Right. And scare regular people out of that investment world.
Yeah, and the bigger you are, the more influence you have over what happens. And we saw this, you know, that plummeting the other day as another indication of some of the weakness in the system itself. But that doesn't bother me as much as you and I could go in with borrowed money, have no interest whatsoever except betting that some institution, some enterprise, some business will fail, and bet that they will, and therefore make money on it. Now, I'm sure that purists will come back and say, well, that's what the free market is all about. With borrowed money,
it's not
you don't
free.
you don't even have to have a stake in it.
That's crazy.
You see what I mean?
Sure.
And I am a proud conservative. I am a proud fiscal conservative. I am a proud free market person. I am against government regulations. Don't get me wrong.
But sometimes we need them.
Well, yeah, and you need to have a situation where the regulators are accountable to the people through the Congress. That's another thing that's missing from this bill, is that they're really not accountable. And Bernanke right now is fighting tooth and nail to eliminate what little transparency we put into this regulation for this bill for the Fed. I think the American people should know what goes on in the deliberations of the Fed. After all, they control America's economy.
I think it's kind of interesting that Mr. Geithner is over in Europe telling them they need to be financially responsible.
When our debt just went over $13 trillion.
That's
over
right.
$13 trillion. The debt this year is going to be $1.4 trillion, but don't worry, there's hope. Next year it's $1.5 trillion.
Well, good.
Senator McCain, you've been my senator here in Arizona for 24 years now. Do you ever
Time flies when you're having fun.
It does, absolutely. My question is, do you ever just get fed up with this and think, what do I need this for? Why don't I go off and hang out at the ranch in Sedona and take it easy? Let somebody else deal with this.
Because I feel an incredible obligation to the people of Arizona that I'm convinced that I can be effective in trying to assist. Also, we're at two wars, as you know, and a lot of brave young Arizonans have got their lives on the line, and I think I can be effective in helping them succeed and also helping our economy come back and create jobs. And I understand. I hear the background music, but I understand that I cannot take a single vote for granted. I'm working hard to gain every vote, and I love a good scrap.
Senator McCain, thanks so much for joining us again today.
Great to be with you guys.